So our journey towards the Manchester Marathon 2024 began at this spot on the 31st of December 2023 when we completed a 15-mile run. This is going to be the last double-digit run of this campaign, the Sunday before the marathon, and we're going to take you through how the training's gone and what we are expecting to do on race day next week. Sorry for anybody doing Brighton Marathon today. Bit of the coast from here. Oh. So a little recap of my marathon history. I first ran a marathon in 2001, actually at Manchester, in a time of 3 hours, 14 minutes and 54 seconds. I was then lucky to progress to a PB of 2:42.10 in 2004, and by 2011 and 2012 I was still able to knock out marathons at around 2:45. However, since then I've not run a serious marathon race in 8 years, so I'm really looking forward to getting back and running a competitive marathon and getting a decent performance under my belt. So the harbour of Weymouth and Melcombe Regis, bonus points if anybody can name the famous historical event, tragic event, that began in this very harbour many centuries ago. There's a clue.
So my marathon career started with the 3:36 marathon. I then had several marathons where I ran around about the same time, and then eventually I progressed to a marathon of 2 hours 56 and 2 seconds at the age of 42. That was in 2006. Since then I've run many more marathons. Last year I ran Abingdon Marathon in 3 hours 31 minutes. In Manchester I'm hoping to beat that time and run sub 3:30.
So in the 14 weeks since that New Year's Eve run, I have completed 831 miles at an average of 58 miles per week. Rest days, 0.
I've completed 778, which works out around 55 miles per week average.
We've also completed numerous strength and condition workouts, mobility routines and the like. So we haven't actually done many races during this marathon campaign, but you've done 2 half marathons, haven't you?
Yes.
Tell the viewers all about those half marathons.
So I've done 2 half marathons, the Brass Monkey half marathon in January and the North Links half marathon in March. Both those half marathon times were very similar, one high 1:36 and one 1:37 and 1 second. So I guess they give me a good idea of where I'm at in terms of running the marathon.
So I ran the Brass Monkey with Dawn as a marathon effort training run, raced the North Links, 1:33.01. A little disappointed with that, but fair enough. We've also done a few park runs as time trials, and we did 2 races as training events. The Marriott's Way Marathon, which will forever be etched on my running brain. It's unwalkable, never mind unrunnable. And more pleasingly, the Wyndham 20 a couple of weeks ago in Norfolk was a 20 miler, as you'd expect, with 3 times 3 miles at marathon effort within there. So those are the events we've done. We'll now tell you what that tells us about our marathon potential.
So I've looked at my marathon time based on 2 factors. One, my Garmin Connect, which has all the data from every run I've done throughout this marathon training block. And 2, I've plugged in my half marathon times into the VDOT calculator. They both come out with marathon times within seconds of each other, and they're both predicting 3 hours 21:54, around there. Now I think they're both over predicting slightly, but only time will tell, and we'll have to wait till next Sunday to see what that marathon time will be.
So my half marathon race performance on VDOT scales up to a 3:13 marathon, but as regular viewers will know, I'm a big fan of the Coros time race predictor. That has, during the course of this marathon block, taken my marathon time down from 3:18 to 3:11:40. Oh, I wish I could just have that guaranteed now. However, I've not run a competitive marathon for 8 years now, and I will be grateful to finish a marathon executing it well. Then we'll worry about what the time is and any other things that can be done to bring that time down even further. So, race day kit, going from head to toe. First for me, I shall be wearing a Ben Parks cap, back to front, with an Insta on the front. I shall be wearing my Club Soul vest, best running vest in the business. Shorts, underwear against my skin as ever. And then these Mizuno specialist ones with plenty of pockets in to hold the gels, which I'll mention later. And then we come to the all-important footwear. So it's now the afternoon of the same day. We were unable to give you all the information we wanted to about our marathon preparations because one, it was far too windy, and two, there's far too much traffic. But I believe we left you at my underwear. And then the all-important shoes. Well, it is going to be the Adidas. It's going to be the Adidas. It's going to be the Pro 3s by the Adidas company. And the reason is they feel very popular when you're running them. They're good at race speed. They're also good if you go a bit slower than race speed as well, which might happen. So the Light Strike Pro Foam, I've really got on with it. I have another pair at home which have got over 400 miles on the clock, but most of them are long runs in those. So I know they work for me over a long distance and long time on feet. So we are reaching for, as many YouTubers say, the Adidas, Adizero, Adios Pro 3. There you go.
So what am I going to be wearing on marathon day? I have a headband because I like my headbands, and that keeps my hair out of my face, especially if it's a little bit breezy. And on my face I shall be wearing some shades. Okay, so onto the serious bit of kit. I will be wearing my club vest, which is a SOAR vest, as John said, very lightweight. In terms of socks, I've got some marathon socks which I'll be wearing, and then down to the shoes. I've had a bit of dilemma with shoes. I was going to wear the Adidas, I know I've done it. I was going to wear the Adidas Adios Adizero, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, well done. Pro 3s, which John had bought me specifically for this marathon. However, throughout the training they've been absolutely fine, but when it got to 17 miles of our 20-mile long run, when we did the Wyndham 20, I found that they put a lot of pressure on my big toe, so it's put me off wearing them for the marathon. So I then contemplated wearing the Alphafly V1s, which are these, but I've only really wore them up to half marathon, so I don't think it's wise. I love them, I absolutely love them, and I never get any problems with them, but I'm a bit wary of just jumping into a marathon straight away with them.
Some people have said they're very good if you're running sub 7-minute miling, so they'll be absolutely the marathon shoe if you're a sub 3 runner, but when you're running around 8-minute miling, just under.
That's it. So I mean, I wear them sort of up to, as I said, up to half marathon, but mainly wear them for 5 and 10Ks, and I do find they like pop along nicely. So that takes me to what am I wearing? Well, I have the Pro 2s, and I wore them for Abingdon Marathon, and I love them. So I've worn them today for our 10 miles, and yeah, there you go. Long story short, I'm going to be wearing the Pro 2s.
So as we're 7 days out from the marathon, we're going to really dial into nutrition and fueling this week. We're not at work for the following week before the marathon, so it gives us an opportunity to make sure hydration is on point, and we've got time to prepare and consume healthy, balanced meals.
And have lots of sleep.
That one as well. So come race day, I will be having a bowl of porridge, which is what I always have, and OTE super carbs drink, which I believe has about 80 grams of carbs in it, on the way to the race. And then before the race, I shall be aiming to have another bottle of it, so that's 160 grams of carbs, courtesy of OTE. During the race, so latest advice seems to be about 80 grams of carbs. If you are a carb burning machine like I am, they will be in the form of OTE super carb gels. Got one here. Don't know why, I'm just going for a walk. So I can show you. So that would be going for just over 3 hours, carrying 6 of these gels. Now I shall also be taking the OTE chews just to mix up the fueling a bit.
As for myself, it's going to be very similar in terms of breakfast as John. The only difference being is the in-race fueling. I go for SIS because it's what I've always used, but this time I'm going to take a Beta Fuel one because it has got more and it means I don't have to carry as many gels with me. So I will be taking every 4 miles a gel of some kind.
So race strategy, we have the choice of setting off to perceived effort, setting off to heart rate, or setting off to a preconceived pace. I think I'm going to have to go by feel initially. I know my marathon heart rate cannot exceed 165 until the last 6 miles, so we're keeping an eye on that, but not being dictated by it. It will probably be 7:20 to 7:30 pace. I'll try and keep all these things in my head, but essentially I don't want to go into the red too early because that way disaster lies, and I don't need another marathon disaster after Yorkshire last October.
As for myself, I use all 3 metrics. Initially, I will set off at perceived effort, but I will be looking at my pace and trying to keep with about 8-minute mile in. As I start to go into the marathon, I'm hoping my pace will be around 7:45 to 8-minute mile in, but also within that it'll be how do I feel. I'll be checking my body throughout. Am I feeling okay? So that's the perceived bit. I'll also check my heart rate and make sure that my heart rate is in the right zones for how I should be feeling.
So for Dawn, that'll be a heart rate of around 135 to 140 until the last 6 miles, where it becomes kitchen sink and how do we feel. So there we go, the hay's in the barn, as we've been saying. There's nothing more we can do now to add to our fitness, but there's plenty of silly things we can do that would detract from our marathon potential, which we've covered in the tapering mistakes video, which we'll put a link to at the end of this. So I'd like to thank everybody who's followed this series so far, who has liked, who has watched, who has made comments on the videos. It's very much appreciated. It does inspire us and motivate us to keep training, to keep focused, and to keep pumping out this content. If you are going to be spectating at the Manchester Marathon, please give us a shout en route. If you are attending the Manchester Marathon in a running capacity, please come over and say hello. I am on the red start, you're on the light blue.
Yeah.
I think that's a 9:10 and 9:20 start. So yeah, this wasn't part of the plan, but the path seems to have washed away. Got a nice bit of tarmac down there, I think. What do you think, viewers?
I'm washing my alpha flies. That's great.
For those of you who enjoyed our Marriott's Way Marathon, this is bringing back memories. But at least it's a leisure walk, not a marathon race. So from a very wet and flooded Dorset, week to go to the marathon. Thanks for watching this episode. If you have enjoyed our musings on what we're going to do race day, hopefully, then please give this video a like. If you'd like to see how we get on at Manchester and beyond, and if you've not subscribed, then please do so. So until next time, keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.